Hello guys, how are you doing today? Today is December 27th, 2022, and it's around 6:15 p.m. and that's Eastern Standard Time, and I'm telling you that, so if you ever listen to my video down the road, you'll know that it's what day it is. Okay, and so I actually have notes that I'm going to be reading from because there was so much to put together for me to try to remember. So I'm just going to read my notes a little bit and kind of tell you what's going on in our crazy world. And I had not planned on doing a video until like the 1st of January, an updated video, because I thought, let's just all enjoy the holidays. Let's just have some fun. Let's enjoy it and kind of get our minds off of the stuff that's going on. And then I also thought that maybe since it's gotten so cold over like in the Russia and China and Ukraine and all those areas, that things might calm down a little bit. And I was wrong, very wrong. Don't have a problem admitting that, but yes, I was wrong. The only thing I can say though, guys, is we just need to pray for the world. We can't even just say pray for Israel, pray for, Iran, pray for Iraq, anything like that. We just cannot say that because we need to pray for the world and for souls. Oh my goodness, pray for souls. It's just getting so ugly out there. So many people turning their backs on the Lord, and just so much hatefulness going on. So, and it used to be on New Year's, until the last couple of years, we would say, oh, I'm so glad it's going to be 2023. It's going to be a better year than 2022. And we're going to put together all of our New Year's resolutions and all these things. And then 2020 happened and we said, okay, 2021's got to get better. Well, and then we said it for 2022. And yeah, here we are. So I don't think we better say it for 2023. I mean, we can pray it's going to get better. But, I'll be honest with you. I really truthfully believe we are in the end times. And I know in the past, a lot of people have always said that, but we have never had it like it is right now. You've got all these pestilence going on. You've got China with 245 million people with COVID. You've got COVID ramping up again in the United States. You've got RSV in adults in the United States now. Adults don't normally get that. That's usually a child's infection. And adults are getting it. And when adults are getting it, it's a lot worse. It's pretty bad. So yeah, it's just horrible. And strep throat's going around. You got the flu, you got all these things. And Jesus does tell us, there's going to be wars and rumors of wars, kingdoms against kingdoms, nations against nations, and there'll be pestilence. And, here we are. In fact, one of, the seals, I think it's the second seal, talks about pestilence. And, here we are. So, in the past, Jesus tells us in Matthew 24 that we're going to see, the wars and rumors of wars. We're going to see pestilence. We're going to see nations rising against nations. We're going to see people, I don't think this is in Matthew 24, but lovers of money, and evil's going to become good and good's going to become evil. And that's what's happening. And it's happening like every week. It used to be you'd see a sign for the end times and you say, oh, there's a sign for the end times. So now it's like all the time. I mean, Matthew 24 is really getting fulfilled. And then it says rumors of earthquakes. Well, the New Testament was written in Greek originally. And the Greek word for earthquakes is seismos. And seismos means shaking, like a really big, hard shaking. So that could be an earthquake. It could be a tsunami, a volcano eruption. It could be bombing, floodings, anything that's going to shake. And we're seeing that everywhere. Saudi Arabia and even Israel is having some flooding, the Dead Sea. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just everywhere. And so that's where it's, more of a concern, why, not a concern, but why it's more prevalent now, because it's all happening at one time. It's not just this here, this here, this here occasionally. It's happening all the time. So anyway, we're going to get started, and we're going to start with Israel first. And many of you, if you pay attention to the news or whatever, you know that Thursday, December 29th, 2022, Netanyahu is going to be forming the government. He's already formed the government, and he's going to be going in basically and being sworn in, as prime minister. I don't know what they actually call it, but that's what he's going to be. He's going to be sworn in, and and with us having this high watch for raptures and second comings right now, there are a lot of people. I'm not sure that I'm one of them, but there are a lot of people that really believe this is the week that we possibly could be raptured, and the reasons for it is because Netanyahu has to turn the paperwork in by tomorrow, December 28th, or Thursday won't happen, but I'm sure he'll turn it in, so I'm not worried about that. But in addition, we're in the kind of the mid going to the end of the Hanukkah season. We're going towards the end of the Hanukkah season. So you got Hanukkah going on. You got a new prime minister being brought in. And, Israel has not even had a government for almost 4 years. They've had 4 or 5 elections. Yeah. So this is a big deal to be having this prime minister sworn in. So you got that happening. But in addition, tomorrow night, the 28th, there's going to be a 10-planet alignment in the heavens. That's the other thing. We'll see signs in the heavens. And those are the kinds of things that are happening. So you got a 10-planet alignment, Jupiter, Sagittarius. Is it Sagittarius? Anyway, I can't name all 10 of them. I'm scientific, not an astronomy person very well. But anyway, 10 planets are going to be all in alignment. And so that's happening. You've got the prime minister being sworn in. You've got Hanukkah ending. A lot of things going on. And it's unusual to have 10 planets align like that. It's very... it's unusual. It didn't happen. It's not something that happens often. And then Netanyahu, he actually either it was yesterday or today did a speech, and he said he presented himself as the restrainer, the one who will restrain the hardest line. And I don't know that I would have caught that under different circumstances, but with everything going on, I did catch that. And I found it interesting when you look at 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 6 through 8. And this is what it says. And you know what restrains him now, so that he will be revealed in his time. For the mystery of lawlessness is already at work. Only he who now restrains will do so until he is removed. Then that lawless one will be revealed. And the lawless one is the Antichrist. Okay, so then the lawless one will be revealed, whom the Lord will eliminate with the breath of his mouth and bring to an end by the appearance of his coming. So yes, the Antichrist is going to rise, but when Jesus comes back for the second coming, right at the end during the wrath and Armageddon and all that, getting towards that part of the tribulation, Jesus is going to be coming for the second coming, and he's going to defeat Satan or the Antichrist at that time. So that's what it's talking about. And when Paul wrote about it, Paul didn't say who this person was going to be. He just said, and you know what restrains him now, so that he will be revealed in his time. Okay, so he's saying that person is going to be revealed in their time. Now, for years, a lot of people thought that the restrainer was the Holy Spirit, restraining and keeping, the lawless one from coming. But that's not really the Holy Spirit's job necessarily. So people are now kind of looking at it more, because our eyes, the closer we get to the end times, the more God's going to allow our eyes to open, our spiritual eyes. And we're going to be able to understand things and see things clearer because, 100 years ago, we didn't need to see it because it wasn't time. But now I think that we're getting closer to time. I really do believe that our spiritual eyes are opening, and we're seeing things. And that's why a lot of times, I mean, I think always in the Bible, when you went to the Bible and you read it, and then, let's say you read a chapter, and then 6 months later, you go back and you read that chapter again, and you see something totally different. Well, that has always been kind of what happened, but now it's like the understanding is more. It's just very interesting. Like, we did a series on the 70 weeks of Daniel, and I've read Daniel before, and I never understood any of it, but now I do. And so, it's because our spiritual eyes are opening and we're understanding more. So I did find it interesting that Netanyahu had said that he is going to be, that he's presented himself as the restrainer, the one who will restrain the hardest line. I don't know. I just found it interesting. What do you guys think? Leave a message, leave a comment, something like that. If you look down on the left bottom part of the video, you'll see a subscribe button. And if you would hit subscribe, we would really appreciate that. So regardless, whomever the restrainer is, they have a lot of power, and they are hindering the advancement of the Antichrist. Okay, they're keeping the Antichrist. Yes, the Antichrist spirit is on the earth, but the actual Antichrist themselves, the restrainer is keeping that person or whatever. Most people believe it's a person. They're keeping him from practicing his lawlessness. But when it's time for the end, it's going to be that restrainer is not holding him back anymore. Okay, but anyway, it's too much to get into in this video. That would be a whole nother teaching. So we're going to keep going. And then other people believe that it's going to be the fall of next year. A lot of people believe that it's going to happen on Rosh Hashanah, and there's some really good evidence as to why they believe that, and I'm talking scriptural evidence. But again, that's too much to get into. We do a series on what the different feast of the Hebrew feast are, like Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, all that. So if you want to know what those are and you don't know what they are, you can just go into our playlist and you'll see, I believe it's under our Revelation 201 series, or it might be our Revelation 101 series. But we do talk about what the different feasts are. Okay, but anyway, like I said, it's too much to really get into for this. But one thing I will say, though, is either way, however it happens, we know it's happening, and we know it's soon, much sooner than later. Okay, I know some people believe we got 200 years or whatever before the rapture happens. I don't believe so. In fact, I just spent 10 hours on putting together a video that we're going to be recording to go up probably around the second week in January. And it is explaining why there's 200 plus years missing in the Hebrew calendar. And it's going to be a very interesting video. So keep your eyes up for it. I think we're going to probably post it around the week of January 9th. So we're going to record it tomorrow, but it's written and ready. And like I said, it took a long time, a lot of studying, a lot of research, but I did find the answers. And one more thing is that Netanyahu made it very clear that once he is in office, he and his cabinet and all them, they plan to move forward with the destruction of nuclear facilities in Iran and Iraq, and where they keep their nuke stuff. What is it? Uranium and all the different things. I think they got 95% now or something to that nature. But Damascus is in Iraq, and that's another prophecy that Damascus will be in a ruinous heaps. Now, some people will tell you that Damascus has already been destroyed, but that's not necessarily true, because it's still inhabitable. People still live there. No, it's not what it once was, but people, there is still people living there. So it is not a ruinous heap. So it is believed that is still one of the signs that is going to be destroyed. So keep your eyes on Damascus. Yeah, that'll give you some ideas if something's happening. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Serbia. And I did not even know that Serbia was having any issues. I had no clue. I've kind of gotten behind on my researching, and that one passed me, although it's only been going on for a very short period. So, but I will tell you that's the ambassadors to Germany, Great Britain, France, Italy, and the U.S., which are all NATO countries. They actually sent an ultimatum to the Serbia president demanding the barriers the Serbs have set up in northern Kosovo to be immediately dismantled. They gave them 24 hours, and if they don't comply, NATO said that they would intervene to disperse the Serbian forces. And as the time of this recording, it's that 24 hours is pretty much up. So I don't know what NATO's going to do, but yeah, that time frame is up. And another thing that's important to note about that is Russia is really pushing that war. Okay, so yeah, that's interesting too. But I think NATO might have expected a little different response from the Serbian president, but he actually, instead of backing down, he ordered the country's highest level of military readiness. In other words, all his military, get ready, and as well as his MUPs, which is like a special police force. And he had them all get ready, and so that they can start protecting Kosovo. There's an area in Kosovo where Serbians live. In addition, the Serbian army, there was a video that went out yesterday of the Serbian army, and I mean just a long convoy of Serbian military equipment. And the most interesting thing was medical trucks as well in this convoy. And they're all heading to the border. This was as of yesterday, but I think they're probably there now on the border right at Kosovo. And Serbian troops are in combat mode, and they're ready to invade. And when they send medic trucks, you know that they're most likely planning to do something unless something de-escalates. So only thing they're waiting on right now is the call from Serbian president to say, go. That's all they're waiting on. So they're there. So, okay, let's go and talk about China again. They actually, on Sunday, I think it was more at the nighttime for us here in the States, but they flew 71 warplanes and sent 7 naval ships into Taiwan Strait. 47 of these airplanes crossed into Taiwan's airspace. So they violated their airspace. I don't think anything come of it, but it's basically, in my mind, they were doing a test to see, what's going to happen. Well, the interesting thing is, while this is going on, North Korea actually flew, not at the exact minute, but right around the same time, North Korea actually flew a drone into South Korea. And this, I believe, was maybe Saturday, but it was shot down. That one was. But then the next day, which was Sunday, North Korea flew 5 more drones into South Korea. And one of these drones actually went over the capital in northern Seoul, S-E-O-U-L. Yeah, they actually threw a drone over the capital. So in response, South Korea sent manned and unmanned assets across the border to carry out, across North Korea's border, to carry out surveillance. So they're violating now North Korea's airspace. So you got North Korea violating South Korea, and South Korea retaliating and violating North Korea's airspace. Now, from what I heard, is when they sent those 5 drones, South Korea sent their fighter jets up, but they weren't able to get rid of. They weren't able to destroy them. The drones went back to North Korea, so they weren't able to destroy them. So that's a little interesting, right there. Is why would fighter jets not be able to, or even fighter helicopter? Why would they not be able to destroy it? I don't know. So, but both these incidences were coordinated simultaneously. Okay, so they were coordinated. So if you've listened to any of my updates before, I've told you, we've talked about how this was, for months now that North Korea, China, Russia were not just supporting each other, but they were literally having like meetings and putting these things together, putting stuff together. So, did they do this to get our attention over there and away from over here? I don't know, but it was definitely a message of some sort. And of course, during that time, you got Russia bombing Ukraine, taking out more of their power. Trying to get the power back, they take it out again. So it appears that they are definitely working together, which, we all kind of knew that, but this is kind of like major evidence that they are. Now, another thing, of course, you need to include Iran in that too, because Iran actually is sending 1,700 Shahed Iranian suicide drones to Russia. And in return, and in exchange for that, Russia is going to send Iran 24 Su-35 fighter jets. Yeah, but Iran has said, we're not working with them. Yeah, they are. And then the other concern and the rumor in the foreign minister in Moldova has said and that Russia is going to come after Moldova in 2023. And that could be, and when we say 2023, I don't mean like the end. We're talking like March, April, May, February, March, April. It's all going to be according to what happens with this going on with Russia and Ukraine. But yeah, it's heating up, and that's getting ready to happen as well. Russia's foreign minister accused the U.S. of plans to forcefully remove Putin. He referred to some reports which he cited unnamed Pentagon officials, which spoke about decapitation strike against the Kremlin in the event of a nuclear strike. And this doesn't mean just a nuclear strike against the U.S. This is a nuclear strike against anyone that they got information that we're planning on taking out Putin if that happens. I don't know. And how did he get it? How did they get this? I don't know. Interesting. But this foreign minister also advised that Moscow will see this as a threat. And if someone does try to do this, then they better think of the consequences because they're going to be big. Yeah. So Russia, again, on Monday, Putin went on Russia's TV station and stated they were ready to negotiate with everyone involved about acceptable solutions. Of course, he means Ukraine. He states that it is up to Ukraine to negotiate because they're not the ones refusing negotiations. Ukraine, like I said, is still without power in most of the country, and Belarus is now heating up. They've been heating up, but they're hot now. They've got a lot of equipment and armory and artillery and things like that, and they're ready to go in, and it's believed they're going to go into the western side of Ukraine, and it looks like that's about to happen too. And in addition to that, with Belarus heating up, there was a video put out a couple days ago, and it's Belarus, and it's their armored vehicles, and they're painted white because, it's snowing over there. So it's painted white, and they've got a big K on the side of them. And they are going towards western Ukraine. So that's looking like what's going to happen. And then on top of that, I'm sorry, I have a dry throat. On top of that, there's been a large buildup of Russia's naval ships in the Black Sea in the last few days. I mean, they have really been putting out their naval ships in the last few days. And I think I also heard that apparently their nukes are a little different than ours. I think our nukes, we can just basically be ready to shoot one off in about 5 minutes or something. Whereas Russia's nukes, they're older. They're from the Cold War, Soviet era. And even though they have more than us, they're still older and they're from the Cold War. And I think you have to, and I'm not going to say this right. I'm not a military person. I don't make nukes. But apparently you have to basically, the best way to put this is you have to put gas in them, fill them up before you can shoot them off. So it takes about 30 minutes to shoot a nuke. And I know that's probably saying it wrong, but technically that's basically what it is. So it takes them about 30 minutes to get one of their nukes ready. And from what I understand, they have 3 now that are, I guess, in the chamber, ready to go. So, I mean, what is it? Do they want to negotiate? Or are they wanting to continue this war because they've got naval ships in the Black Sea? I'm sorry. Yeah, in the Black Sea. They've got Belarus going into Western Ukraine. They're still bombing Ukraine. They've got their nukes getting all ready. I mean, so which is it? And so, is it they want to negotiate and they're only going to agree is if they get to keep certain areas like Kyiv, that's the only way they're going to agree. And Ukraine's not going to do that. So my guess is Putin knows that. He knows it's not going to happen. And he's just trying to say, look at me, I'm willing to negotiate, but they won't, and I think it's maybe just a tactic. And and I'm not saying he's getting ready to nuke or anything, but belief is that he is. But I guess you would want to continue putting your stuff, your plan in place. So if they don't negotiate, then you're still moving forward. You can always call them back. Ukraine's general stated he believes that Russia is going to go after Kyiv, and I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. There, in the last couple of days, there's been a mad rush for banks in Russia with citizens trying to withdraw their money. We keep hearing that Russia's doing good, that their economy is good, and all these things. Well, it's not true. There are people just lined up around the banks trying to get in and get their money. And ATMs have been shut down. Debit cards are being shut down and blocked. The people are becoming very, very restless. Rubles, which is their money, is down 20%. And, if you've got Putin not doing as well in Ukraine as he had thought he was going to do, and then you've got his people getting restless, he's getting backed into a corner. So it's just a matter of time. I don't think he's not going to go down like Saddam Hussein went down, found in a bunker in a hole. He's not going to do that. He's going to go out with everything he has in his power. He's not going to be humiliated. He's not going to be embarrassed. It's just not going to happen. That's not his nature. It's not. So, but if the people become restless and then they start fighting back against him, and then he's got these people, all of his people fighting back against him. He's got all these other things. Yeah, he's gonna do something. Yeah, he's going to. Another thing that he said was that he made this statement, and that all he has to do is shoot a nuke at Yellowstone National Park at one of the guys, I guess at the geysers and stuff, and that would take out the entire United States. Now, I just heard that today, so I have not been able to research that, if that is indeed true, if he was to just nuke that one area, if it would take out the United States. I don't know if he means maybe the grids, because I know Hoover Dam, electricity. It provides electricity for 6 states. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to have to research that, but that was interesting that he would say that, because that's telling you he's researching it. He's looking into it. So, okay, something interesting is happening today. It's probably already happened. NASA The researchers at the University of Alaska plan to perform a radar experiment. And what they're planning to do is we have an asteroid that's coming by. Now, it's 500,000 miles away, so it's not at risk of hitting the Earth or anything. But it's coming by, and they know it's coming by. It's 500 miles wide. And what they're planning on doing is they're going to use shortwave radio, and they're going to basically ping this asteroid. They're not wanting to necessarily destroy the asteroid. They're not too worried about that. But what they want to do is they want to ping it like with, it's at HARP, at the place HARP over in Alaska, but they're wanting to basically shoot a beam, I guess, basically into it so that they can get an X-ray. Yeah, so they can see inside of it and see what makes the inside of the asteroid. Yeah, so that was supposed to happen today. The target, the asteroid is 500 feet wide, and its name is 2010 XC15. Yeah, they name them. And they plan to hit the asteroid with a pulse of a 9.6 megahertz radio wave. And they plan to do it today, so I'm going to have to get on there and research and see how that went. And another reason that they're doing this is because there is another asteroid that is like way bigger than this one. And it is predicted to come close to the Earth, if not impact the Earth in 2029. And I found that interesting too, because, if you study eschatology and end times, you know about wormwood. And wormwood is going to be something that comes from the sky, and it's going to destroy plant life and sea life and people. And I mean, it's huge. And that's prophesied in the book of Revelation. And I can't remember if it's in the actual trumpets or if it's in the bowls. I know it's not the seals, but I can't remember if it's in the trumpets or the bowls. For some reason I feel like it's like the fifth or sixth trumpet. Do your research, check it out. But I find it interesting that that's 7 years, 6.5, 7 years away. And so I found that real interesting. Yeah, that they know that is coming, and you've got all these other things going on. So yeah, I have to wait and see, right? And see what's going to happen. But that's really all I have right now. Sure, I've got more, but I mean, my goodness, how much can you say? And like I said, with the end times, you've got the pestilence, you've got the seismic activity, you've got famine going on in a lot of places already, and it's coming to our country too, probably by the March, April, May, June of next year. Because if you don't know this, we are actually eating on 2021's food right now, and 2022 is what we'll eat on in 2023. We're a year behind. And the farmers are saying that they're 50% low in production. And that just doesn't even include like the rice that comes from India and all the other places that are super low. That's just this. And on top of that, fertilizer is like quadrupled in price. So even if we can get, even if you can get some food, it's going to be astronomical in price because of the fertilizer and stuff. So if you can start growing your own, you might want to start stocking up on stuff, rice, beans, things that are non-perishable. Kind of get ready just in case. And if it don't happen, hey, more the merrier, praise God. But the way everything else is coming together, I'd say it might very well could happen. So anyway, and I'm sorry I keep saying so, I do that. But I appreciate you guys for stopping by and spending time with me. I hope you do have a wonderful new year, and keep looking up. Just keep watching. He's coming. Just keep watching. But don't stop your life either. And when I say don't stop your life, first and foremost is we need to be out there letting people know. We need to let people know when something happens. Look, this is in the Bible. It's in the Word. It was prophesied 1,900 years ago. This is in the Word. 3,500 or 2,500 years ago for Daniel and Jeremiah and Isaiah and all that. All those prophecies are coming to pass. And so people need to know, that it's, and there will come a time when heaven's door is going to shut. And when that door shuts, it ain't opening back up. So we need to make sure we let our friends and family and children and anyone know that, about Jesus. It's so important. And when I say watch, that doesn't mean like quit going to work because you think it's going to happen in a couple of days. You're still going to have to pay your house payment. And if it happens, great. But if it's another year or two, you don't want to not have a job and not pay for your house and your car and your insurance and your cell phones and all that. So, but be smart too. Be smart. Okay. And pay attention. Jesus clearly instructs us to keep watch. He has that story about the thief in the night. And in that story, he gives two examples. One, the servant was keeping the house in order while the master was gone. He was keeping everything together. He was doing what he was supposed to do. And when the master came home, he wasn't surprised because he was watching and waiting. Well, then you had the other servant who was like, oh, master's gone. Let's throw down and have a great party. And we're not going to watch for him. And all of a sudden, master comes home and they were surprised because they were not watching and waiting. Okay, and taking care of the house. We got to take care of God's house. We got to watch and wait, take care of God's house. Okay, guys? Have a happy New Year, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye.